News Center 25, your hometown news with Jonathan McCall, Rissa Shaw, weather with Chief Meteorologist Bill Alexander, sports with Don Brubaker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jonathan McCall.
And I'm Rissa Shaw. Thanks for joining us for News Center 25 at 10.
Tonight, controversy brewing between two sides over one piece of land. It's all over swapping a piece of land between the city of Victoria and St. Joseph High School.
Both parties want a deal, but tonight safety concerns brought up by people living nearby could make the handshaking more complicated.
That's right. It's new tonight at 10 o'clock and first on News Center 25. Check out this smash and grab caught on camera in Houston. Police there say the cameras were rolling when a team of thieves crashed a pickup truck into a store overnight to steal an ATM, just like out of the movie Barbershop. This is what it looked like when workers arrived back at the scene this morning. Three people, they say, backed the truck into a glass wall, then went straight toward the ATM, loaded it into a truck, and took off. Get this, the worker that you just saw there says the entire thing took 90 seconds from start to finish. He thinks the crooks cased the store before they struck. So far, no arrests have been made. New tonight at 10 o'clock, a San Antonio man on the run for murdering his pregnant wife kills himself near the Las Vegas Strip this morning. Authorities say 34-year-old Naranda Goodrum shot and killed himself as U.S. Marshals were trying to arrest him at a hotel this morning. San Antonio police say Goodrum killed his pregnant wife last Thursday, just days after she filed a restraining order against him. U.S. Marshals say they're now investigating. Police near Corpus Christi on the hunt for a group of vandals who are causing plenty of noise for those resting in peace. Police in Mathis say a statue and several other headstones were vandalized early Sunday morning. Molly Moya says she couldn't believe her eyes when she saw what had happened to a statue that was placed near her husband's headstone. Now she says she's demanding answers. Tragic story there. Mathis police say the damage was done with a car, possibly an older model Mustang. The suspects, if caught, could face charges of mischief at a burial place, which is a felony in Texas. Ahead tonight on News Center 25 at 10 o'clock, fallout from the GOP House as they do not take up the Sandy relief bill last night. We'll have the very latest on that coming up after the break.
The drama over the fiscal cliff is over, for now at least. Last night, the House finally agreed to a deal to end the fiscal cliff. The deal avoids massive tax increases that would have hit most Americans in the new year. The deal also had a major impact on Wall Street. From the opening bell today, the Dow surged and closed over 300 up, or 2.4%. After getting the deal done, President Obama returned back to Hawaii with his first family to finish his Hawaiian vacation.
The one thing that I think hopefully in the new year we'll focus on is seeing if we can put a package like this together with a little bit less drama, a little less brinksmanship, not scare the heck out of folks quite as much.
The deal to avoid the fiscal cliff now sets up another heated showdown in Congress in just a few weeks over raising the debt ceiling. If a deal isn't reached there, the government won't be able to pay its bills, which could be far more damaging to the U.S. economy.
While Congress was able to seal a deal on the fiscal cliff, Americans still have to open up their wallets just a little bit more. That's because the payroll tax once again will be reinstated this year. American workers can expect to see a 2% drop in their take-home pay. To break it down, for someone making about $50,000 a year, they'll have to shell out an extra $1,000 in taxes. Workers can start to see that deduction starting on their next paychecks. One thing the House did not take up during their session last night, billions of dollars in relief to millions of Americans still recovering from Superstorm Sandy on the East Coast. Outraged today, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie called out his own party for playing politics with the lives of people in need. CNN's Tori Dunnan has a story. The man behind July's deadly Colorado movie massacre will be in court again next week. The preliminary hearing will determine if there is enough evidence for James Holmes to stand trial. Holmes is accused of killing 12 people, wounding 58 others during the premiere of The Dark Knight Rises. That hearing is expected to last all of next week. Meanwhile, the family members of the victims killed in the movie massacre are rejecting what they're calling a disgusting offer from Texas-based Cinemark, the company that owns the theater. Relatives say 2 days after Christmas, the company sent them invitations inviting them to the reopening of the theater, which is scheduled for January 17th. The family said they were invited to what is being described as an evening of remembrance, followed by a movie. Officials from Cinemark are not commenting. But before then, winter arrives.
It's cold. It's going to be cold.
All right, we're looking forward to spring.
Yeah,
all right, Bill, thanks so much. All right, here's something to think about with this nasty weather outside. The Centers for Disease Control says this could actually be the worst flu season in a decade, and Victoria apparently is no stranger to it. Officials here, a number of doctors' offices say they are seeing a rise in the number of flu-related cases. Dr. Sanjeev Bhatia says he's actually treating twice as many flu patients this year compared to last year. He says people who got the flu shot are still getting sick, but he says despite that, he encourages people to get the flu shot because it's 70% effective and the best form of protection. Dr. Bhatia says the old, young, and people with certain health risks are at a higher risk to suffer flu complications. We do have more flu fighting tips available at crossroadstoday.com.
Yeah, death, not chronic medical conditions.
I'm telling my wife that I'm not going
Tell
to
her that one. Good. Apparently it all.
Tonight, authorities in California continue to investigate how a photographer was killed while trying to snap photos of pop star Justin Bieber yesterday. Authorities say the paparazzo was trying to snap pictures of Bieber's Ferrari when he was struck and killed by oncoming traffic. Bieber was not inside of the car at the time. Authorities say the photog reportedly stopped his car on the other side of the freeway, ran across traffic towards the car. Officers asked him to move away from the vehicle because it was an unsafe situation. And then moments later, as he was crossing back into traffic, he was hit by another car. The driver of that car is not expected to face any charges.
It was very bizarre. That's why I said it's so creepy to think that somebody would come into your home and take the time to sit down and eat something and then lay down in the bed and...
It really does sound like a story out of a fairy tale. A couple returns home from vacation only to discover someone has been sleeping in their bed, eating their food, and obviously robbing their home. The couple said they arrived back home after the new year and noticed that some jewelry, a bottle of Jack Daniels, was gone. Even worse, the thieves helped themselves to the fridge and left dirty dishes in the sink and slept in their own bed. Police in Florida say they are now looking for those suspects.
A bad fairy tale, not a good one.
That's a really bizarre story.
Very strange.
Can you imagine explaining that at like family reunions and stuff?
And they're pretty young too.
They really are. That's true. All right, bizarre story from Kansas tonight. The state there, listen to this, forcing a sperm donor to pay a lesbian couple child support for the couple's daughter. Officials say the state has already provided more than $6,000 in benefits for the girl, and they wouldn't be going after the guy, but get this, the lady split up. The 46-year-old donor, though, gave up his rights back in 2009 to the couple, including financial responsibility, but the state of Kansas says whatever the arrangement they had is not legal. Amazing story there.
That's.
How do you take that?
Take note, boys. You're always responsible.
Don't go to the bank. Don't go to the.
On the next Judge Judy.
Next Montel.
That's true.
Early